podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji, with me is Elliot. How you doing, boy?
I'm very well, thank you, man. How are you doing? Welcome back to the UK.
Welcome back to the land of the living, more like.
Well, I don't know if you're back there yet, but slow and steady.
Yeah, I guess if you weren't part of the Discord, you wouldn't have realized where I was or what I was doing with my life. But I was celebrating life, so yeah, I had a good international break. Didn't pay attention to a single thing that was going on football related in the Discord or internationals. It was mostly just me posting in Food Frenzy and biz.
Yeah, I think even if you were trying to pay attention, you wouldn't be able to recollect anything that you'd been told anyway, judging by the good times you were having.
I mean, to be fair, I was in an Irish bar and I saw the Kevin Kelleher penalty save against Ronaldo, so I wasn't totally lost.
Yeah, I can think of worse places to be to see that save anyway.
Exactly. That was the only cheer I heard in the bar the entire time, because then, yeah, Portugal ended up winning the game.
Yeah, so Ireland are having a difficult time of things at the moment. Like even last night, I don't know how closely you follow them, but so they beat Armenia, which is what they needed to do, but they also needed Portugal to spank Hungary, and obviously Hungary scored a last-minute equaliser, so Ireland are not having a great time. They've had, I think, 4 points from 4 games, 2 of them against Armenia, as in 2 games.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be Sweden.
Well, I mean, they've got 2 flops up front, though, haven't they? So that's to be expected.
Only 2? Well, the 2 that are being allowed to play, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they fired their coach as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I did see today that Graham Potter's put his hat in the ring.
Oh, love to see it, don't you?
I mean, Sweden, are they not going through enough right now?
Yeah, I know. Like, Potter is just, it gets worse and worse. You know, teams like this, countries like this, you know what they need? They need a Gus Hiddink. That's what they need.
They do. I think, so I'm not sure who it was that got fired, but I've got a feeling it might have been a Swede. So maybe they're going to venture overseas for a manager, realise, oh, hang on a second, because the team is good.
The team is so good. Anyways, how did you enjoy international break, buddy?
Yeah, it's been nice to sort of switch off a bit. I watched a bit of the England game last night. Well, obviously that was just a walkover, and a bit of the England game against Wales, which was much the same. But outside of that, it's been nice to be arguing in the Discord about silly things like full strength exercise and how long people are going to come back from injuries, rather than worrying about pickups and drops.
Yeah. Do you think, like, we've gotten to the point of the season where we've figured out everything, all 20 teams, or there's still
Absolutely
some
not.
unknown?
I don't think.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think anyone, because of the style of plays all over the place. I'm sure we'll get into this. I think everyone's still grasping at straws.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, before we get into the meat of the pod, let me get all the boring shit out of the way. Listeners, welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. We are a default Fantrax pod. So you've caught us on our free week-to-week pod. The reason I say free is because we've got extra content, paid content on our Patreon for $1.99 a month. You get waiver pods, you get some Inside Tracks pods, you get some articles here and there as well. But yeah, it's really just to kind of support us. It's the first time we're trying it out. So yeah, if you love the content, we truly appreciate the support on Patreon. But in terms of tonight's episode, the free episode, it's basically, a regular pod where the format is we have 2 halves. In the first half, we do a bit of a recap of game week 7. I kind of like to go through, match by match, a couple talking points here and there. And then obviously we do our data dump where we discuss the default scoring categories from game week 7. We take our halftime pint, and after the break, we answer questions in our Discord. Oh, we do league updates as well. I don't know. I saw the first note that you left in the league update, and I was like, does he really want to do the league update?
Oh, no, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah.
But we'll get to that soon. But as always, what I'm going to get Ross to do is quick social plug. So Ross, please do that right here.
Yeah, for sure. So you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handles at BantaB. on Discord in the Draft PL channel, Banter Boys #6585, on Reddit, /Banter_boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name of Banter Boys.
Okay, so hopefully you've listened to Ross. If you're listening to us on Spotify, we truly appreciate a 5-star rating. Though, you know, I've pushed that so many times. We've gotten over the 100 mark, 300 followers.
5.5?
I'm absolutely buzzing, so it's like, am I allowed to keep asking? But, you know, still, hit the subscribe button, notification, bell button, you know, same jazz for the YouTube channel as well. Thumbs up if you're watching the video at the moment. Leave a comment as well. We like going through them, reading them. Yeah, it truly means a lot. But yeah, that's enough boring shit. I think let's just dig into the recap. So looking back at game week 7, it feels like months ago, like
Agreed.
years ago. We had Storm Amy. It was an absolute shit weekend for weather, and it showed in a lot of the games. Starting with the Friday night fixture, Bournemouth, Fulham. So I've got a couple of points here. I don't know which one you want to start with. The fact that Fulham had no forwards, the fact that Tavernier seems like a dead asset in Fantrax at the moment, or your boy Lukic, the one that you hyped so much, you basically jinxed him into the ground.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll start with Lukic. So I know that you were hot on Lukic as like a sleeper last year, just in terms of when he's on sets, his floor's usually about 8.5, which everyone loves. You know, he's managed to get a couple of assists this season, and I think it's a shame to see him go off in the way he did. I think he's out 4 to 6 weeks, maybe. In some sense, I'm glad that it is a length of time long enough you can just go, I'm going to drop him. You know, if it's 2 weeks, you get that horrible thing of like, he's not a premium, he's not a great asset. Do I want to hold him? Do I want to not? But yeah, I think it's a real shame for some Fantrax managers that might have had their steady, you know, mid-4. But I think it's probably for the best for Fulham because they need to be a bit more expansive. You know, they've signed Chukwueze and they've signed Kevin, and from what we've seen of them, flashes we've seen of them, they look like they can be very exciting. But I think if I was a Fulham fan, I'd be saying, like, Silva, start them. Or at least one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, like, that Lukic injury came as a blessing for Fulham because they looked like they weren't in that game at all. Kearney came on and started making the runs, right? That started connect the play further up the field. And yeah, Fulham eventually grew into the game and then took the lead. And then, yeah, it just became the Semenyo show after that, didn't it?
I mean, this season's Semenyo show, isn't it, really? Yeah, I think he's just dragging them through. I think this is slightly off piste, but did you see today there's rumours that there's a clause in his contract? 'Cause he signed a new contract, didn't he, in the summer? There's rumours that there's a clause in his contract or a release clause, but Bournemouth are like desperately trying to keep a lid on it so that people don't find out how much it is or what it is.
Oh my God, sure.
Well, yeah, exactly. I have no idea what it is, but I guess it's similar. What they want to avoid is the Morgan Gibbs-White situation from the summer with Forest, where Spurs happened to know exactly what the release clause was, paid it, and then you had that nonsense with Marinakis and basically holding a gun to Gibbs-White's head during the, we've signed your contract. But I think, the way Semenyo's been playing, he's just unbelievable. As a Fantrax manager, it's the dream, because it's just like, oh my God, everything is going through him.
Yeah.
And he's just got that bit between his teeth.
I can't see him staying past next season. Like, after they got ravaged, like, the entire defense or whatever, like, I can't see it.
But, the way that they're playing, there's no need to leave, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, where's he gonna, where can we realistically see him going? He's not going to go to Arsenal because they've sort of covered their wing business.
Liverpool? Salah?
Well, that's what I would say, but they've allegedly lining up Elise. He's got some sort of gentleman's agreement in his contract.
Ugh, God, that's disgusting.
No, it is disgusting, I know. But then at the same time, given the way Liverpool are playing, why would Semenyo want to go there?
Yeah.
But no, I agree with what you're saying, but I also think he could be one of those players that's sort of, if they get Europe, he might go, let's roll the dice for a year and, see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they're fighting for a Champions League spot at the moment.
Exactly, they're fighting for a Champions League spot right now. And I think he might say, you know what, I could go to City and be a rotation piece. I could go to Liverpool. Yeah. If Salah's still there, then what's going to happen with that situation? Chelsea, he's not going to go to Chelsea because he's over.
No,
he's too
he's
old.
too old.
He's too old for them. Exactly. And then Spurs, well, they signed Kudus this season. So yeah, I really don't know. I'd love to see him stay at Bournemouth just because it's exciting to have these players dotted around the league. It's like when Zaha was at Palace before if you ignore the Man United nightmare. It was exciting because it was like, oh, here's someone who can beat teams on his own in a team that you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, good point. I mean, before we move on from this game, Tavernier, the number 10 spot, it's killed his value completely this season so far.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of Tavernier because of that he can really light it up. But I think with injuries, the injuries probably taking a toll on his body at this point. We know he gets a lot of these fast fibre injuries, muscle injuries. And I think the fact that Kluivert, they've taken so long to bring him in, and he's still, but then Tab's not taken the opportunity to nail down the spot at 10. But then even when he does, like you said, he's not scoring well. I think Fantrax managers, you've got a double worry on your hands. It's one, is he going to play? And two, it's not, he's going to play and get 11 points. It's, he might get 4, and at which point you're going to struggle to even trade him out.
Yeah, I just don't think he's a 10 either.
I don't think so.
We've seen the best of him from the wing coming inside,
forward,
Yeah, so strange one. Next game, first kickoff on the Saturday, Leeds versus Wiz. Yeah, the main point for me was just I felt like Leeds deserved something out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Leeds are performing better than a lot of people expect. I know the points aren't necessarily there right now, but I'm not watching Leeds games and thinking, "Wow, these guys are terrible." Like that, I'm sure we'll come on to Longstaff at some point, but the players seem to be playing. The team seems to be more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
so I agree with you. I don't think Spurs looked great either.
Yeah, I mean, the goals that they scored were pretty much a couple of deflections, right? Tell's one especially. Kudus' one, I feel like, it was somewhere on target or whatever. Had the keeper wrong-footed. But yeah, Longstaff, man. He's broken the game a little bit.
Yeah, the last 2 games, I think, and it's one of those because the stats, obviously, like everyone who's trying to predict it is trying to catch up with the stats. So it's one of those where it could be in 2 weeks' time we're looking back going, well, that was a weird 2 games. Or you look back and go, right, why was I burying my head in the sand and saying this isn't happening when all signs were suggesting that it's happening?
Is stock just completely dead now as an asset?
I got lucky because I traded him out the week before.
Smart man.
So not to talk just about myself, but I got lucky with that. But I think at this point, you probably didn't pay anything for him. Most managers didn't. You either picked him up as a free agent, drafted him like round 16 or whatever, or maybe you paid a few fab after first couple of weeks. I think you might as well ride it out for a couple of weeks and see if it swings the other way. Like we've had 2 game weeks of Longstaff, obviously smashing it, but it's not as if Leeds, they didn't win either of those game weeks. So the manager's not looking necessarily at Fantrax and saying, "Oh, he scored well on Fantrax." Do you know what I mean? So it might well be.
You telling me that's not how football works? Just Fantrax scores?
From what we're led to believe it isn't, but maybe it is.
I mean, the thing is, Leeds' fixtures are still good, right? Burnley away, West Ham at home, Brighton away, Forest away. Exactly. Until the next international break, I think Stock is still a good option to have on your bench at least.
Yeah, I see no issue with holding him. I can't see that you're going to have insane upside on your, waiver wire or free agency. Obviously, it depends on the size of the league. But if we're talking about a standard 12-man league, you might as well hold him and see if it turns up. If you say you go through, we've got Burnley and West Ham as the next 2, right? Yeah. Say he puts up a 3.5 and a 4, doesn't take any sets. Fine, cut him loose at that point.
Yeah.
But at this point, even if you're looking for streamers, you go right. Burnley away could potentially have a couple of sets, probably direct free kicks because he scored that absolute banger.
Yeah.
I mean, there's far worse, and he's massive, so even if he's not taking them, he might get his head on it.
Yep.
I mean, I might have to trade him back in.
And then to trade him back out. All right. Arsenal versus West Ham. One of the 3 p.m. kickoff games. This is basically a training game for the Gunners. And I guess the biggest talking point was Odegaard's injury, which kind of sees him out until maybe the other side of the November international break. Do we pour one out for the owners, or do they deserve this pain that,
Well, nobody deserves this pain. I think nobody deserves this pain, but I feel for them I do feel for them, but it's less of an issue, I think, than last year, because last year was going like, what, round 1, probably pick 8 to 10, that sort of area. Whereas this year, I think a lot of people probably picked him up late second, arguably in some early third. So whilst it does suck, I think at least you've not spent an insane amount of draft capital on him. And in some ways, similar to what I was saying before about Lukic, I think there's some relief that he's actually out for a slightly extended period of time, because you can at least assess it properly and make a decision. You know, you're not in a situation where Arteta's coming in going, oh, I could be back next week. And then it's 4 weeks of he could be back. At least you know, right, I need to plan for not having him for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, this felt like a fixture that he really didn't need to play Odegaard. Like,
100% agree.
It's been clear all season, Odegaard's not been 100%.
No.
He's been picking up these random injuries, even starting games, coming off early. Like, it's West Ham. They're a team in transition as well. Horrible form. Just rest him. Like, you've got enough depth in that squad.
That was sort of the whole point of the summer, right? There was that they were building on the depth, and I think, you've nailed it there. I think maybe at some point, I loathe to say this, but maybe there needs to be a conversation about whether Odegaard's body is made for the Premier League.
Yeah. Honestly, he looks so skinny, like way more frail than before.
Yeah, and I think this was some of the concern that people had when he was in Spain. It's like some of the Madrid had these concerns. Like, the talent was always there, but it was how sort of pliable is he over the course of the season, and how much is he going to last? And I think it's understandably, like with the shoulders and stuff, once your body has let you down a bit, you do feel, it takes a while to get the confidence back. So like you just said, it might be one where it's sort of Arteta's thought, or maybe this is one where he can get some confidence. That is maybe one. But you maybe say, look, there's an international break coming. Is there any need to force him into this game when you've got, midfielders literally like falling out of the squad?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of one, Zubimendi, is he a pick now?
I mean, we've seen... So there's been some interesting articles that have been shared in the Discord whilst you've been away, so you might not have seen them. But like The Athletic have done a few bits on it, and quite a lot of discourse around, I guess, this season so far and the tactics. And it seems like what would traditionally in the last few years have been a CDM or a 6 double pivot, where you're likely seeing at least one of them being just a null for Fantrax. That sort of seems to be changing a bit. You sort of seem to be returning to a bit more of a box-to-box on both sides, I guess. And Zubimendi, I think Ryan on his Arsenal preview had sort of said, I'm not expecting anything from him Fantrax-wise, and I 100% agreed. I think we look at him now, he's popped up with a couple of goals, he's getting forward. So, I mean, I wouldn't hate him. You could probably pick him up on the low, but I'm not necessarily going to expect him to be putting up double digits every game. But when is he going to have a floor of 8? Maybe, and it might well be that he slots the ball through to Saka, and Saka takes a shot off, and he picks up some key passes that way. I mean, I don't hate it.
And that's the thing. I think exactly what you said. I think he's just going to fluke his way into key passes, and he's just going to have the floor from his defensive work. And I'd take that. Like, mid-4, mid-5, 8 points, I'll take that.
Yeah, 100%. I think one, especially is, he's 9 times out of 10 going to be first choice. So it's sort of one of those, if you're going into a Sunday 4:30 kickoff and you're thinking, right, I've rolled the dice on a couple of upside plays that haven't started, I'll plug in Zubimendi and hopefully that can shore me up for a reasonable number of points. I'm just looking now, so he's averaging 8.29. I know the goals obviously earlier in the season have that up a bit. So we've got, we've got a 6, a 4.5, minus 0.5, 4.75 and a 5.75, and then we've got a 10.5 and the 2 goals for the 27. I take back what I just said. I'm not wild on him.
But consider fixtures before and consider the fixtures that Arsenal are going into now. Like, they are going to dominate possession so heavily. I feel like naturally he's just going to pop up around the box, because I feel like there's a better chance that other teams are just going to park the bus a bit.
Yeah, that is true. And I guess the team where he scored 2 was that beleaguered Forest team. So I guess where they did have more possession, and do you see what I mean? So there is potential opportunity. I mean, I don't hate it. I wouldn't be trading him in. No.
This is like 0 fab free agency pickup. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to have me arguing against it.
Yeah. Cool. United versus Sunderland. Is Šeško a legit asset? Like, we mocked all the managers spending their entire budget on him, and I don't know, he's putting up points, he's scoring goals.
My view would be, and I've shared this previously in terms of all of the players that came in on that last week, that everyone overpaid for all of them just because that's how it works. You think a lot of people are like, crap, I've got this fab, I need to spend it. These are the players that have come in. Sheshko's, near the top end of he's a Man United striker, so obviously there's the bling there. So do I think he's necessarily a value? I don't think he's going to meet that, but would I be, if I'm a Sheshko owner, am I excited by the last couple of weeks? 100%, because he's ghosting a bit as well. I know part of that, not in the last game, the game before, was him having about 20 shots to try and finally score. Just farming shots on target. But I mean, I guess if you're a manager who's brought him in recently or got him, you've just got to hope his sort of kicks on from there. I don't know, what are your thoughts on it? You seem to be quite excited.
I test as well. I feel like his link-up play is slowly getting better. He's integrating within the team. I mean, I still think United have way too many creative attacking players for him to not score a goal. We made the joke early on in the season, a fucking Plyon could score goals in that fucking setups, right? So, I mean, his height as well, it's a threat. I think we maybe gave him way more shit than we should have.
Yeah, which I think is also understandable, because that's sort of, we live in this reactive world, and any new signing coming in, especially the money that they paid for him, you're going to it's like a magnet to getting not abuse, but getting criticism or critique.
Yeah.
But I think if you were to build your sort of perfect fan track striker, you'd be like, make him a big tall boy, please.
Benteke regen, let's go.
I know that sounds massive. Literally, if you were to ignore who he is and who he's gone to, and just say, what do we want? We want someone that will put themselves about a bit, looks to start to be doing that a bit. Yeah. Obviously wants to try and score, and the team and has creative players around him that are trying to feed him. All of those things are there. I think the fact he scored 2, do I expect him to be challenged for the Golden Boot or anything, or going crazy on sort of the fan tracks? No, but do I expect him to be, especially in this season where forwards are scoring poorly? Yeah, you take that every day.
Ooh, I just thought of a hot take. Sheshko outscores Gyökeres this season.
I back that.
I love it.
I back that.
My last point that I wanted to mention, speaking of United forwards, Cunha. From a tactical perspective, I get why Mount is playing above him. I don't know what to tell Fantrax managers right now, because I'm sure he went first round in almost every single draft this season.
Yeah, I think, I can see why Mount is starting. I think partly that's because he's just tactically, his brain is just sort of almost the Dutch way of just his intelligence for football is just there. Whether you agree that he's a brilliant at football or not, I'm very much still on the fence. But you can see why managers or coaches are like, oh, this boy gets it.
He runs.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, all right. He's in the space I want every time, and fans are like, yes, but he's not as good. But I think with Cunha, you're just going to have to sort of ride it out, because when he has played before the injury, he was putting up good points. He takes a lot of shots. He wants to be that guy. And I know that he played for Brazil during the international break, and he's taken quite a lot of flack, I think, from some of the Brazilian fans. I think partly because he's not necessarily the glamorous Brazilian flair player that they want necessarily. He's a bit more, feisty, and will get amongst it a bit. I
think that's better, though.
I know, I don't disagree, but I think if you're comparing him to, so say he was playing, I think he was playing up front, I think, but then dropping back slightly. You had Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. behind him, sort of coming in, and then Estevao or Esteve coming off the bench, or starting and playing really excitingly. It's easy for you to look at him and go, well, why isn't he doing the same thing? And it's sort of like, well, no, the whole point is he's sort of doing some of the hard work for them to do that. So, I think there's definitely, if you're a Cunha manager, it's going to hurt a little bit. But when he is playing, he's putting up numbers. So, you've sort of got to just ride it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a non-owner, you're hoping that he gets benched this game week, and then maybe it's getting better and better as a buy low.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I certainly don't hate him as a buy low, but the issue is I don't think we're at that stage yet. I don't think the managers are going to let him go for a buy low. I think because this season, nearly all the values of all players have just been so all over the place. I think people are so, managers are so unwilling to sort of part with what is probably the value of that player. The sunk cost fallacy is almost higher than ever.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with what you're
crazy to
saying,
see.
but it does seem
Yeah.
every time you're talking to players, like they're valuing people just insanely high.
Yeah, don't get me started, bro.
Yeah, we'll come on to that.
All right, final game on that Saturday, Chelsea versus Liverpool. It's official. Szoboszlai is Liverpool's best right back this season.
I think, yeah, I guess it's a low bar. Frimpong and Bradley don't seem to necessarily be doing it, but I just think he's just we were talking about Mount, it's the same thing. Like in terms of slots, obviously looked at him and gone, this guy just will not stop running and will not stop giving 100%. And given that Liverpool have been struggling to sort of find that fluidity and just exactly the way they want to work it, it's crucial you have someone in there that's just going to run his bollocks off, basically. And you know, I know he's not always done it, but his delivery is great. His scores haven't been perfect in terms of fan tracks, but yeah, you can put him at right back and he'll stick to what you ask him to do. You can put him at the number 8 and he'll do it 6. He might not be the best at all of those positions, but he's probably going to be giving you an 8 out of 10 of what you asked him to do.
Yeah, and I mean, him playing there is probably what enables Slot to actually just stick to Wirtz. I think, listen, you bought the player, he's a good player, sure. I mean, Fantrax managers, again, we talk about being reactionary and, you know, all these 007 chats, etc. I mean, when he came off the bench and he did that pirouette back heel to Salah, I was like, okay, well, this is a goal.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because I mean, and in another timeline, that would go in and everyone should be like, oh, that's what you paid for. And I think that is completely understandable. It's the Bundesliga tax, right? You know, this happens. That doesn't mean to say that it's going to be a disaster. It usually takes a bit of time to work out what's going on. But following on this match, I guess, as a Chelsea fan, how are you feeling about it? Let's let you tee off a bit.
We beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, given how the game was going as well, like we just kept losing centre backs every 10 minutes. Like it was mental. We didn't end up losing this game in the end. And yeah, Esther Wow or whatever
Jesus,
just comes up with the winner.
Stop the podcast.
I mean, the kid is special, yo. I mean, Cole Palmer, who I mean was still able to somehow, you know, get by without him. And you know, there's a bit of a rumor about, you know, Enzo being potentially injured. I think it's all just chat, like, because from what I heard, or I was catching up on other podcasts and stuff today, it was a friendly game for Argentina that he didn't necessarily have to play and got rescheduled a bit later. So I think they just kind of gave the perfect excuse and just allowed him to kind of come back. At least that's what I'm hoping. Obviously, we all want to wait on those pressers Thursday, Friday, get a bit more information before, you know, we're reacting and trying to pick up, you know, assets like Buonanotte, for example, is one that I'd probably throw out there if Enzo's missing. But yeah, I mean, buzzing that we got the win. It just felt like Liverpool needed a little bit of a humbling in a sense.
Well, 3 losses in a row will do that.
Yeah, but so yeah, I'm very excited to see how Liverpool are actually going to come up against Manchester United this weekend as well. I want to say, you know, Liverpool always have their number, but I wouldn't be shocked to see another upset. So.
Yeah, I would say that I guess Man United have in the last couple of seasons been awful against Liverpool, from what I can remember, but I guess have been better against some of the better teams. I guess the issue is at the moment Liverpool aren't one of the better teams in the last 3 weeks, so it's sort of, you know, where does that work, or where does that lie? In regards to Enzo, I'm intrigued to see what happens there, because I think he's been doing quite a lot of the heavy lifting, but I also think he's sort of been, not him, Chelsea in a way of sort of been getting away with it a few times, and I'm interested into, especially at centre back, like what the hell is going to happen. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, again, speaking of Enzo, and he was like a hot topic early on in the season. Even you know, chatting with you and stuff like that. He nearly scored again. All right, another one of those classic late runs that I was banging on about all of preseason that he makes. I feel like he's just going to tick along, like I said. And while Cole's out, I think he has pens. There's a possibility maybe JP wants to take one or two here or there, but.
Yeah, still a good asset, still a good team. Yeah, Liverpool can suck it. All right, next game. Aston Villa versus Burnley. Yeah, biggest thing for me from this game was the Marlon brace and everyone just losing their minds about it, and now is like, oh, is Marlon now the pick that we should all be considering? And I'm just like, at the end of the day, they played Burnley. Like, are we overhyping it a little bit?
If they played Burnley, Watkins had run their defence into the ground, Marlon came on and scored a couple. I know that's sort of like Watkins does, but I meant in terms of, this is similar to Duran's situation from last season, right? And I know it's only one game, but this is that whole conversation in a microcosm where people are like, oh my God, Duran is the GOAT. Like and Villa fans, a lot of them were similar because you see the goals and it's unbelievable. And there's some saying, yeah, but it's partly because he's coming on. The defenders looking, going, oh, Jesus Christ, I can't.
Oh, no, but Marlon started with Watkins in this game, remember?
God. Did
yeah.
Right,
it's been ages. But they both started up top together. I think Rogers and McGinn behind them, Bogarde and Kamara behind them as well. It was like a 4-2-2-2 system or whatever it was, I think, that they played. But I mean, like, regardless, like, maybe Marlon becomes a pick now because I from what I heard as well, Watkins picked up a bit of an injury. I wouldn't read
too much into that. So, let's keep on Marlon. Do I think Marlon is worthwhile keeping an eye on? Yes, 100%. I drafted him. Our pre-season was a shit hot. And then Emery came into the start of the season and went, nah, actually, I'm good. So my concern would be, what is there to say that's not going to happen again, right? We still got Gessen that's trying to, supposed to be starting at we'd imagine a few more games at some point, and that's not necessarily happening. Buendia's been in like ever-present good form. Rogers is slowly finding form. All of a sudden, I'm looking at that starting lineup and going, okay, there's quite a lot of parts there, and they're not all going to necessarily fit. So whilst I'd say, like, pick up people who streamed Marlon, fair play, great. And also, with, again, the dearth of forwards, I think people are worrying too much about it, but also they're going to get overvalued. Mm-hmm. So I'd say fine to go for it, but I would also, don't be surprised if in 2 weeks' time he's scored a combined 3.5 points. And do you know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and the fact that they're going to be playing Europa means that there's going to be rotation as well.
Yeah, and like, why would you want to pick him up in this next 4-game week period when they have Spurs away, City at home, Liverpool away, Bournemouth at home? That's probably the four toughest teams that you're going to face right now.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about the upcoming fixtures. Yeah, great point.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, man. Anyways, the next game, Everton versus Crystal Palace. Eagles finally beaten.
Yeah, I mean, but still, the defenders scored relatively okay. Generally, but yeah, I think they probably won't be complaining too much. Obviously, they'll be frustrated that the sort of comical way that the last goal sort of came about, going in off Grealish. But I mean, that was, I guess, 2 informed teams, right? Yeah.
I mean, though I will say it was baffling to see Tyler Dibbling start over Alcaraz when I thought, okay, KDH is playing the 10, he's missing. The natural replacement is Alcaraz. Like, I wouldn't even have tried McNeil. Like, I mean, let's not open up the can of worms that is McNeil this season. But yeah, and I felt like it was after that Moyes made that change that Everton finally kind of got a foothold in the game and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, like you said, 2 fantastic teams. Honestly, like, this is probably way too early of a shout, but Glasner could easily get manager of the season for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if he, if they're still in, with a shout of the top 7, no one would have expected that, considering, Eze's gone and considering the lack of reinforcements, the situation around Guehi, like on transfer deadline day. I think, it's been absolutely brilliant. So, and again, it's exciting for the league to have these teams putting in performances like that. I'd be intrigued to see how the sort of slog of Europe sort of depletes the team a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't.
It's a small squad, it's not, right? That's the problem.
It's a small squad.
Yeah.
That's one of the teams where we could sit here and probably give 11 out of 11 most weeks. Yeah,
that's true. All right, next game, Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest. Has Ange officially lost the plot? He's playing back 5s now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Ange whatsoever. I was about to do an impression of his Are You Not Entertained, but I think if there's anybody listening in Australia, I doubt it, but if there are, I'm glad. You should be glad I didn't just try and murder that. But I think him playing a back five, yes, he's playing a back five, but in his head, he's convincing himself he's playing a back three.
Yeah, I have no idea what this man is doing. Like, honestly, I feel for Nottingham Forest fans. Like, it's crazy. But in a way, it's only because of Marianakis that I'm like, they should get relegated for this nonsense.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so one more thing from this game. Is it that, okay, we know Ange's teams have no defense and they're more likely to concede than to score. Bruno G got rejuvenated, back to life, back in the attacking returns, all that sort of jazz. Is this just coming up against Forest, or are we now like, okay, maybe Bruno G is starting to hit that purple patch that we always see every season, which allows him to be considered as like a decent mid-3, let's say?
I've never been a Bruno G believer. Never. Incredible
I don't
footballer.
blame you.
Incredible footballer.
Yeah.
But in terms of fan tracks, it's just not... There's no necessarily rhyme or reason as to why. I know what you're saying in terms of the purple patch, but for me, if you've got anybody in your league that's willing to give you a decent offer for him, just take it, and then you don't have to worry about whether he's, whether it's real or whether it's going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
What's your view on it?
So, I'm thinking, given the landscape of the season as well, it feels like if you're trading out a mid, you want a forward. If you're trading out a forward, you need a mid because you can stream defenders, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're a dime a dozen. So it's like, what forwards are we realistically going to be able to get for Bruno G? Because we're seeing a lot of underperforming forwards, but like we said, a lot of people are still, valuing them on the round that they got them on draft day. So for example, like Evan Nilsson, classic example, underperforming forward at the moment in a really, really attacking team, but is not really putting up the points, right? And so is this now like sliding doors moment? Can you do Bruno G for Evan Nilsson? I want to say probably not, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a weird one because Bruno G every year is just overdrafted, right? I like people will draft him in like round 4. I'm like, why? He doesn't have sets. It's not like he's got this floor. He doesn't have sets. He's not like an attacking midfielder. He's a largely sort of defensive box to box 8, but doesn't really get involved in the attack. Sort of, he's usually like the man before the key pass sorts of thing. I'm just looking at his numbers now. So he's scored 2 this season, but without, even in the first game that he scored against Liverpool, he scored 11 points, right? So apart from if you take the last game week out of it, he scored 5, 11 with a goal, 1, 3.5, 5.75. I want absolutely no part. If I can get Evan Nilsson for him, I'm saying, give me that lottery ticket, right?
But no, tell us the fixtures that he played though.
Yeah, but the thing is, you say that these are fixtures where he'll be busy. He doesn't attack, right?
Good point. Yeah.
So these are fixtures when he's busy.
Yeah.
So the first game, got 5 points against Villa. Villa have been dreadful this season, right? So that's not a difficult game, or wasn't a difficult game.
Yep.
Second game, 3-2, they lost to Liverpool, and he scored, but he only got 11 points. And that's in like a ding-dong match. We watched that match. Newcastle were unbelievable in that first half, right?
Yep.
And he was picked up next to no points. 0-0 against Leeds. Leeds, I said they've been okay, been better than we expected. They've not been great. You got 1 point.
Yeah.
Next game, home to Wolves, 3.5. Come on, man. Then we've got lost. What you're looking at when you're then lost to Arsenal 5.75, and then they beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. He scored 1, got 26 points. What you're looking at is last season's Villa and Forest, right?
Yeah.
When you actually look at that, so we've got Liverpool and Arsenal, 2 solid fixtures.
Yeah.
And outside of that, they've played, a Villa team that hadn't scored for 2 years. Leeds away, Wolves at home, and then Forest at home. And to be fair, he put up numbers against Forest, but that's because they have no idea what they're doing. Yeah,
so then what forward are you going to get for Bruno G?
But the thing is, I wouldn't worry about necessarily whether it's a forward. I would happily take a defender. If it's gonna, I don't think it... I agree with what you're saying, but I know you can stream defenders, but if you can use someone's panic about midfielders to get... And thinking, right, so say you've got someone else who's like, another manager say, I'll just stream defenders. What I'll always do, I'm better if I stream defenders. I need midfielders. And you look at it and go, yeah, that's the case, but the value here, there's a defender here that you're never going to drop. So I can't stream him.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I try and pick him up? I think there'll be plenty of defenders. Right, so put it this way. Trevor Chalobah.
I'm going to take Chalobah.
Of course you are, but there's loads of managers that will go... There will be loads of managers that will go, I got
Yeah.
Chalobah round
Yeah.
15. The last few games, he's not necessarily been himself. You know,
Yeah.
you can sell that purple patch conversation. I think it's an easy decision for Chalobah, but I think there'll be some that will look at that and go, you're joking me, Trevor Chalobah?
Matthijs de Ligt or Bruno G?
I don't think Matthijs de Ligt is all that, so I'm going to say I don't rate Bruno G, but in terms of who has a higher value, Bruno G, probably.
Okay.
I think if you... So
Interesting. Yeah.
Malik Tiar, I've probably pronounced that completely wrong.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's what I'd say as well. Yeah.
Malik Thiaw. Right? I'd rather have him than Bruno G.
Yeah, agreed.
But
agreed.
that manager's going to bite your hand off for Bruno G just because of the perceived value. So
Yeah.
I think rather than worrying too much about... I think it is one of those where... And I think this is a constant thing with fan tracks. It's like perceived value. Whereas Bruno G, for me, might be worth less. But if I know I can go out to the market and get more for him than I would, I think I think defenders, you could probably get a pretty solid, defender. Okay, another one, Calafiori.
Imagine fast hydration combined with balanced energy, perfectly flavored with zero artificial sweeteners. Introducing Liquid IV's new Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free. Unlike other energy drinks, the ones that make you feel like you're glitching, it's made with natural caffeine and electrolytes. So you get the boost without the burnout. Liquid IV's new Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free Hydrating Energy. Tap the banner to learn more.
My marathon isn't about time. It's about my 26 friends with intellectual disabilities I'm dedicating each mile to. I'm Joseph. I'm running my first Bank of America Chicago Marathon for Special Olympics Illinois to help give my friends a place to shine.
Join Bank of America in supporting Joseph's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportJoseph. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America.
References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation.
Oh, man. I know I keep saying, and I have been saying this season, and I'm probably wrong for it, is that I don't trust Arsenal defenders and their scoring, but
100%.
there's something that's changed.
Game week 7.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say. There's something that's changed about the Arsenal defenders. Yeah, both the fullbacks are basically living in the box at the moment.
Exactly.
So I'd probably take Calafiori.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Even if you're having that, I'd probably take Calafiori.
Yeah.
There's going to be managers there. A Calafiori manager might bite your hand off it, and you might just go, actually, what I could do with was having... I'm not saying necessarily Calafiori is this, but I could do with having another set and forget defender. Yes, we can all stream defenders, but do you really want to be streaming 3 of them every week? No, you probably want to be streaming 1, 2 at a max if there's an upside play.
Yeah, fair. Okay, cool. Next game, Wolves versus Brighton. Wolves seem to finally be finding their feet in the league. We're starting to see a couple of assets popping up. I want to give shout-outs to Hugo Bueno and Krejci. I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation, maybe.
Given my performance so far today, I'm not going to say anything.
But what's kind of been interesting to see is the last couple of games, Vitor has been starting with a back 4 and slowly moved into a back 5. And I don't know if that's some form of changing the way he kind of controls the game or whatnot. And maybe that's a whole different pod that we unpack that. But yeah, in terms of these Wolves assets are starting to pop up, any interest in either one of them?
I mean, yeah, Hugo Bueno, I think I was skeptical a couple of game weeks ago. He seems to be putting up good numbers. I think I was looking the other day. So Trippier has created the most big chances of defenders in the league so far this season. I think it's called according to StatsBomber, one of those ones. So I'm not going to sit here and say it was me that counted them all. So in terms of the definition, Trippier was on 11. Porro and Bueno, I think, were both on 10. So it's he's creating those chances. Which, whether Wolves necessarily have the finishers to do it, Jorgen seems to have disappeared, but have the players to necessarily do it, I'm not sure. But I'm certainly interested by them. It's one of those where you can get them cheap because people think, it's Wolves, it's flash in the pan, it's not going to happen. So if you're looking for punts or a cheap trade in to have a go at, Bueno might have necessarily that train might have left the station, but you're still going to be able to bring it back to Hugo Bueno, Bruno G.
Yeah. Oh, Hugo Bueno. I know you were going to bring it back here, and I'm so glad that you did. No, I'm glad that you did. Hugo Bueno. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think a Hugo Bueno manager probably picked him up 3 game weeks ago and is going to go, oh my god, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, how are you feeling about Wolves'
Interesting.
assets generally?
I mean, I'm excited by. I mean, like you mentioned, Hugo Bueno, you're probably not going to be able to get to him. Krejci is the one that I'm looking at in teams that I want to be able to stream a defender or whatnot. And Krejci has shown, I guess, in his career, he has a knack of being able to find the back of the net. And it seems like tactically as well that sometimes he gets the opportunity to play in midfield, which kind of does help his flow slightly in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Vitor is a great coach. Obviously he got sent off I think last match or whatever, but yeah, I think he's a fantastic coach and tough start this season, but I feel like they're gonna find their way somehow or the other.
Yeah, and I think so. I think Krejci sort of went under the radar for a lot of people because he obviously didn't come in from the very start. But I'm just looking now, so he's done 4 back-to-back 90s, looking at 12, 7.5 and 9.75 in the last 3 games, all without a clean sheet. I mean, I can think of worse. I know defenders are scoring quite well this year, but I think of a lot worse. And if you look at their fixture difficulty, so next 3 games, we've got Sunderland, Burnley, Fulham, who are hardly massive scorers. Yeah, man.
I mean, and Chelsea, you can throw us under the bus if you want.
It depends, doesn't it? Depends on.
You never know which Chelsea's going to show up on the day.
Exactly.
That's why I say
it's the classic Gennaro Gattuso. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. You really don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, final game was Brentford versus Man City. I think it was like Dango chained, basically, was the biggest thing. Yeah, and Rodri's injury. And I guess who really benefits from Rodri's injury? Or who gets hurt? Because I feel like there are assets that get potentially hurt, like Reinders.
Yeah, well, we had this conversation recently about Reinders, and it wouldn't get heated, but it was a good discussion, it was a healthy discussion. Whereas I think there's going to be players that City are going to have a lot of players sort of out at the same time and coming back. The players are coming back now, so you've got Marmoush soonish. Cherky seems to be back now. Obviously, I can easily see Reinders being moved back slightly and just saying, there's going to be players in front of you rather than just bursting forward. I think we always, every single year, as Fantrax managers, fail to take into account that Pep just likes Kovacic. He just likes him. And I think it was similar at Chelsea, where he's not the most glamorous, but tactically he's very astute and he'll do what Pep asks him to do, which will be, I guess, be the water carrier for a bit. And I think he probably will get more minutes than we anticipated or we want as he's not the glamorous one. People want Reinders, Cherky, Foden, Savio, Doku, Marmoush, like all of those players to get a fair share of minutes. But I think it probably, like Nico Gonzalez is flattered to deceive, he's just not really done much. Nico Riley's been brilliant. Maybe he gets some starts in centre midfield, or maybe they but having said that, it could be that he starts at left back and plays most of the game as sort of a defensive midfielder, and it ends up being that he does unleash Reinders, for example.
And as much as we talk about Kova being a great player in transition as well, he's not going to last the full season either.
Oh, 100%. He's not going to last the full season. But I guess with Rodri right now, we don't have the severity. He doesn't need to last the full season. If he can, it might well be a season where they both just need their minutes managed and they sort of rotate a little bit in and out in terms of what games are coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and like we said at the start of the pod, right? Have we figured things out? No,
absolutely. Well, I think
things are still very much up in the air.
That's evidence. Nobody has a clue.
Exactly. All right. I think now what we'll do is jump into our data dump.
Fantasy with the Banta Boys.
All right, so as always, with this segment, we discuss the default scoring categories. We're going to start with key passes. The highest number of key passes in Game Week 7 was 5 by Luca Digne and Sean Longstaff, and then 4 key passes by Minte and Mo Salah. Thoughts, Elliot?
Digne, just evergreen, absolutely love it, just doesn't stop. And I think hopefully with Villa sort of seemingly turning a corner a bit, that will continue, and obviously a lot of that comes from set pieces. Longstaff we've discussed. I mean, I personally think it's going to carry on. Maybe not the exact level, but do I think he's going to be putting up at least 8 points a game? Yeah, I genuinely do at this point.
Yeah.
Minte started the season on fire, been absolutely brilliant, played in multiple positions for Brighton this season. He's covered Matone on the left side, played on the right hand side, mixed things around, and just seems to be just really kicking on. I think maybe struggled with injuries and niggles a little bit last season. Salah, surprised to see that considering he's finished. I'm really surprised to see non-ghost Mohamed Salah. What are your thoughts on the key passes?
I mean, obviously we've got to touch on Salah.
Yeah.
You're well aware of the trade that I did. I'm sure most listeners are. And I vehemently defended him a bit in terms of people saying, "Oh, Mo is washed," etc. And really, I think again, I will say it with my chest. I think it's a very lazy argument to have. To just blame the guy that you expect to do, bring the glory. Let's say, get all the goals, get all the assists. And we talked about Sobo and how it affects Liverpool and the right back situation and the supply line for Salah itself. And listen, let's again revisit the debate after these next 4 game weeks when we have another international break to waste a bunch of time arguing 100%. about a fantasy game.
Yeah, I love it. Say arguing about a fantasy game as if we don't do that when it's not the international break. We just do it with a bit more vigor.
But exactly, right? I personally thought that, outside of these key passes, like, that was probably one of the best games that I've seen Salah play this season in terms of the positions that he found himself in. Listen, we're not going to see him pop up in the next category that we're going to discuss, and it's surprising that he didn't, because he popped up in some very dangerous positions, and I thought genuinely he was going to punish Chelsea, but c'est la vie. I'm happy that he didn't. Obviously, we got the win, but I just want to see how the next few game weeks go for Liverpool, because again, the article that was posted in our Discord, I thought it was a fantastic read by The Athletic, mentioning the fact that the teams that they've played up to now, Liverpool that is, only one of them is really in the bottom 10 of the league. Everyone else is in the top half, right? So,
I also
let's see.
Just to jump in there, I also sort of want to come back to, and I think we all need to remind ourselves really that there's sort of been 2 things at play here, especially with Salah, but with Liverpool, Diogo Jota, be that we've seen that how hard that's hit Salah, right?
He was in tears after game week 1,
and I think that he is a very emotionally intelligent and emotionally engaged man, and a massive family man as well. So his heart is probably very much with Diogo Jota's family. So I think, whether we want to admit it or not, it probably isn't like ever present in terms of noticeable, but in terms of sports psychology at that very, very, very high level, like the marginal gains, all it needs is his mind to like ever so slightly be off it, and things will be different. So I do think we need to remember that he's probably processing that like in real time. It's not as if this happened 12 months ago and he's had 12 months out. This happened very recently, and then also, if he looks around him like the John Travolta meme, he's like, I don't bloody know half of these people. Like, who are you all? So there's also that thing, and we've seen him go on Twitter now X to defend like Darwin and to defend those players that have left, and said, as much as we can be excited about the new players, but can we have some respect for the like league champions? So there's probably part of him that's sort of working out those patterns of play and working out sort of like, what can I trust these players around me to do? And also, what can I like sort of take a chance? And there's probably some things that we're not witnessing, that he's making some runs, and we're thinking, what the bloody hell is he making that run for? But it might well have been that last season or the season before, instinctively someone had been like, right, Mo's gone, bang, like get it in there. Whereas now, and for example, Szoboszlai, he was to the left of him nearly all of last season, and now he's spending most of it behind him. So that's, even the players he has, if you were to bring it back to like football, FIFA Ultimate Team, like the connections and the chemistry, if you looked at it that way, like the old school ones, even that's been disrupted. And I do think that we're all too quick to sort of forget those things.
Yeah, how dare a footballer have human emotions and not just act like the game piece that he is towards us?
I mean, in an ideal world, he would just be a game piece. But I think it's one of those, when you are assessing these sorts of things, it's too easy to just...
No, you have to take in consideration this sort of stuff, man. People don't. Like, people just assume, they're just going to pick up, go play football, come back out. Like.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, there's also the conversation around, he's got his new contract, he's going to... It shouldn't be that. We've seen it time and time again. You sort of shrink into it a little bit. People have it at work, right? You get put in a performance review or whatever at work, or you might be up for a promotion, and you think, right, I'm going to be there at 8 a.m., if you start at 9 or whatever, I'm going to be a crack of dawn working so-and-so, that every email is going to be within 5 minutes, bang, 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 bang. And then as soon as you get it, you're like, right, I can just, it's not even rest like as in I'm going to be lazy. It's literally like, I can just chill for a second.
Yeah.
And there's probably
catch my breath.
Yeah, literally, exactly like you've not been able to do today. But that's exactly it. And I do think that does make a difference. Sorry, I'll come off my soapbox now.
All right, next category, shots and how many on target. So highest number of shots recorded in Game Week 7 was 5 by Phil Foden. He only had 1 on target. Then 4 shots attempted by Joelinton, who had 2 on target. Tom Kearney, who came on as a sub, had 0 of his 4 shots on target. Sean Longstaff had 0 of 4 shots on target. And then a couple of Arsenal players here with each having 1 of their 4 shots on target. Eberechi Eze and Bukayo Saka. Thoughts, Elliot?
No one can shoot. They were taking all these shots. No one can shoot, man.
Well, I mean, international break is coming, so why bother?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think, looking at those, encouraging to see Foden take some shots, a lot of shots, because I think maybe last season he might not have had the confidence to do that. Interesting that Longstaff, I know he didn't have any shots on target, but that leads into potential flaw. All it needs is a couple of to get 1 or 2 for the keeper to get a hand on it, and there's a couple of 2 points there. Eze and Saka, interesting, especially with the Odegaard situation, but I think that's maybe that they were just, like we said, we called it sort of a bit of a training game. They were just sort of like, what can we get away with here?
Yeah.
What's your view on those? Any standouts there? Joelinton, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, again, it was the Forest team that they played, right?
That's exactly it. Right?
And again, I mean, we kind of mentioned about Kearney being better for the transition for that game against Bournemouth. So it's no surprise that he was kind of picking up some attacking positions and having a few pops of goal. But yeah, nothing really else. Sean Longstaff, man, I'm like watching these numbers and I'm like, should I be trading him out high and just
maybe
like
Bruno G or Sean Longstaff?
Oh, come on, Longstaff.
That's insane, right? He probably went for 11 fab last week, right? He was a free agent 2 weeks ago, but that's exactly 100% right.
Yeah. Anyways, next category, accurate crosses, not corners. Highest number was 5 by 1 player, Minter.
Brilliant.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. I don't own him anywhere. I didn't expect him to be putting up these numbers. I think there might be a regression to the mean somewhere. At some point, but yeah, amazing. A good fun to watch.
Yeah, honestly, I just didn't trust his minutes under Huesler. And again, it's just because of Huesler. But yeah, honestly, saw him IRL. He was one of the best players on the pitch, and yeah, he's just gonna get better and better, I think.
Yeah, and they don't have Europe, which for them, I know I was complaining before about teams having Europe and rotation. I guess for them, they've got quite a big squad of people who want minutes and can compete there, so that could be a bad thing. But in terms of sort of starting, he's probably going to start most games. It just might well be that it gets to 70 minutes and Huesler maybe looks to, if they're winning, maybe he's looking to replace. But yeah, I think if you've got him, just hold on to him.
Yeah, agreed. All right, then extra categories, the outliers for those: tackles 1, high of 6 by Cullen; dispossessions, high of 5 by Kudus; interceptions, a high of 6 by Josh Laurent. I've never even heard of this guy. Clearances, a high of 16 by Mavropanos and Ballard, who came on as a sub for 52 minutes. Successful dribbles, a high of 6 by Kudus. Aerials 1, a high of 8 by Ballard, again showing up here. And block shots, a high of 3 by James Tarkowski. Thoughts, Elliot?
I mean, Kudus, give with one hand, take away with another with the old successful dribbles and dispossessions, but that's got me the way. I mean, I guess I put it to you, what is your thought on Danny Ballard, big DB? The other big DB, sorry.
Well, Alderete is apparently injured, so Ballard back on the menu. Yeah, I'd be throwing fab at him this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if he'd been dropped at this point.
Yeah.
In many, but if he is, it's literally like in terms of free hits, it's not free, it's going to cost you fab, but in terms of like upside plays, you've got to just give it a go.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of the fixtures getting difficulty, because Sunderland had probably one of the best starts in terms of fixture difficulty for all the teams this season, I think it's just going to be better for his points overall. And I heard he was absolutely brilliant in the international break for Northern Ireland, if I'm not mistaken.
He plays for Northern Ireland as far as I'm aware. I didn't see them, but obviously our Northern Irish correspondent, shall we say, was glowing.
Prash?
Yeah. Was glowing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if he's free on the waiver wire,
100%.
you definitely want to go get him. So,
Yeah.
oh, hey, what, Ballard or Bruno G?
Bruno
It's just gonna be the theme of the pod. I think.
Yeah, I do actually. But the thing is, I don't feel like a Bruno G hater here. I think he's an unbelievable footballer, but I've just never been a big believer in that Newcastle midfield. Although that is changing this season. We can touch on it later if you want, but that is changing this season with one man.
Yeah. Mr. Tonali boy. Oh god. All right. Cool. So I think now what we'll do is take our halftime pint and we will be back after the break with league updates and some questions. So we'll see in a bit. And we are back. How do you feel about next season's international break being 3 weeks long, by the way?
Oh, Jesus. I might, by that point, we'll have forgotten what football is, I think. I think what we'll have to do is have an international break mini league. We'll have a draft for the international break.
Genuinely.
I mean,
honestly.
Oh God, why have I said that? It's gonna happen now.
I mean, speaking of drafts, I need to get the Bash League started. Have you been part of a Bash League?
No, I wasn't last year. Haroon begged me every day pretty much to be part of it. I wasn't necessarily planning on it this year, not just because I've got a lot going on, but the more I think about it, it's such good fun. So yeah, I think once that's up and running, just give me a shout.
All right, will do. All right, let's get into league updates now. So I think you're only doing DPL this season?
Yeah, Lifestyle League.
Healthy man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, trying to be. I mean, given the amount of time I spend in the Discord, not a healthy man.
All right, so then why don't we start with our DPL updates? I'll let you go first. Give us results, standouts, regrets, any concerns, and then I'll go through mine.
Cool, I'll do a very quick run through. So this game week, I lost by 15 points against Robbie, which was frustrating, especially when the thing that actually beat me was that last-minute Grealish goal.
Oh, that is so annoying.
Yeah, so that is frustrating. I love Grealish, but it could have done without that. And it was looking really tasty before that. That's fine. In terms of standouts, Munoz, just been, drafted him in round 2. People going, why are you drafting a defender that high? It's because he's brilliant.
This episode is brought to you by Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels and music are made for each other. They share a rhythm in the craft of making something timeless, while being a part of legendary nights. From backyard jams to sold-out arenas, there's a song in every toast. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. Tennessee whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast? Smart move. Being financially savvy? Smart move. Another smart move? Having State Farm help you create a competitive price when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power. Designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
Bruno, after the missed penalty, coming back and just putting up great ghosts. Porro, again, I've been quietly happy with Porro this season. He's getting in the right positions, putting the ball in the right places. And Calafiori, but outside of that, team performed quite well. I think I got 89 points, which I know some people might be happy with, but generally it's trending downwards. I opened the season with an average of like 140 points a game for the first 3 game weeks. So the last few have sort of been going the other way. In terms of regrets, being outbid on Longstaff, I think I went for 6, and he probably went for maybe 11. In hindsight, would I have gone 11? Yeah, probably, because I've got about 85 left. The Lukic injury was a shame. I can't moan too much though, because he was a mid 4 or 5. It's not, I'm not.
That's just bad luck.
Yeah, exactly. You compare that to like Odegaard owners and Palmer owners, and it's a different beast. I guess benching Mateus Nunes, he wouldn't have made the difference for me though, so that's not too bad. But it's been nice. I picked him up before the previous game weeks. Obviously, I've had 2 decent game weeks, and now I'm sort of looking forward, going, oh, maybe, at the start of the season, he was a flyer in round 13, 12, 13 for some people. So maybe that carries on. Let's go over to you, and we can do our roster concerns together at the end if you want to.
Yeah, sure. So for me, DPL, I won by an ugly score. So 89-64.
I'll take it.
I'm still holding on to first place. Second points for. Standouts were Theo, Delict, Holland, with his, just the goal points, but whatever. He scores, I'll take it. Regrets, none really. So, I mean, in terms of concerns, this is the team where, again, you're well aware because we chat a lot in DMs and stuff like that, where I have Haaland and Salah up top, and basically... but basically, my midfield is, threadbare, I want to say. Enzo Fernandez, Jeremy Pino, and Tavernier. So, I'm, looking at this league, and I'm I would kill for Zubimendi right now.
Well, the thing is, though, you're looking at Pino, and the way he's been playing, you're thinking, hang on a damn second, this.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the Enzo. That's why you're coming in with a copium with Enzo's knee. Oh, it's not really a thing. It's unfriendly. And yeah, so I can understand with your concern with Tav, but I guess for you, with Tav, it's literally, you've just got to go for it. There's nothing to lose by holding on to him, because it's not as if you're going, I'm benching good players to play Tav. You're not. But
yeah, but I mean, now this game week, Tav is playing Crystal Palace. I would genuinely bench him for a defender.
Oh, yeah, but I think you can do that, right? You can play 2 midfielders.
Yeah.
But I think, but for me, I think there's always value in midfield, because there's always players that have come on in the 60th minute and scored a couple of goals or been in form, and then all of a sudden. But we'll look at Alcaraz, for example, right? So if you're saying that you need some midfielders, look at Alcaraz. He probably got picked up by managers and dropped before the match started because they picked him up to stream him. He's now, he came on 45 minutes, scored 7 points, looked solid. A lot of Everton fans online have been saying, is there a way that we can maybe play him as the false 9? What's
Vafdad saying? That's what I want to know.
Vafdad, in fact, I can find the exact message. He messaged me about billing at, I'll tell you, I think it was 11 minutes into the game. I'm going to find it. Sorry to put you on blast, Dad. So the match kicked off at 2:00. This was at 2:06. I'm not enjoying Tyler Dibbling. I know he is not trained towards the end of Southampton days, but I'm yet to see anything. He looks weak. I hope I'm wrong long term, as he was a lot of money and I was excited about him. Give him a chance. He's 5 minutes into his first start for you in the league and he's 19. Having said that, the fact he's not playing Alcaraz is a disgrace. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And he said, I've given him a chance and I've seen nearly all of his minutes so far. He's just been disappointing, that's all, especially with Dewsbury Hall suspended. So that was his view on it. But what I have seen quite a lot of in terms of Everton fans is a clamour to try Alcaraz as the false 9, which I mentioned a minute ago. Because I think they've looked at Beto and Barry and gone, it can't get any worse than this. It can. They've literally just gone, what's going to happen here? Yeah, and he's played 9 a few times Southampton. But for example, to come back to your mids, I'd look at a player like that, and that's a perfect player. We go, pick him up and play. Let's see if it happens for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. There are midfielders floating around in waiver pools or free agency pools that have upside but aren't in rosters because they're not getting the starts. And again, we go back to the season hasn't settled yet.
That's exactly it. And that's sort of what I'm getting at. We've got, for example, Buendia, where he's been it's been a tumultuous start to the season, but could we see a realm in which he becomes the starting 10 for Villa this season for at least a 10-game stretch? Yeah, and
very possible.
He that could happen. He could still be poor, but those players are there, like you said, because it's not all figured out, and you've still got players that came in the summer and haven't fully settled, and it might well be they don't actually settle, so people have picked them up because they're the shiny new toy. Then you look, for example, Buendia is an example. Understandably, people weren't necessarily high on him, and then Elliott came in, but then Elliott has been poor for Villa, and they've needed something. And Buendia's, if you look at all the cup games, been their best player, or been one of their best players in the attacking third anyway. So I think there is opportunity there.
Yeah, and I think with Ange's house on fire, if he gets replaced, there might be some midfielder options that pop out of there with under new management. And again, Nuno was not properly settled in. We still don't know what his best 11 is. So there's going to be opportunity for midfielders in a few weeks.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely going to be midfielders with upside. I think finding the ones with a safe floor is hard, I guess, and that's why the Lukic injury was a shame. And like why everyone's now going crazy, I guess, for Longstaff, because it looks like there could be a potential flaw there. But yeah, if you find a midfielder that's taking some sets, then this speaks back to the stack situation. Like, just hold him for a few more weeks and see how it shakes out, because that's exactly who I would recommend, and I would be looking for on the Y would be, oh, I've seen this guy's taking a few free kicks and corners. I can do worse than giving him a go.
Maybe I should try and get Bruno G for this team. Anyways, you give your dilemmas. What's your concerns with your roster?
Just for the tape, there was no silence edited out there. That was pure silence from me. In terms of my roster concerns, same as everyone, my forwards aren't really performing. So Watkins and Neto. Ironically, I drafted Neto, traded him out for Watkins, then traded out Jorginho, Ruta and Stark for Neto before this game week.
You're so good at trading, I must say. Like,
if you're in a league with me, you're just like, leave me alone. Like, because I'd send two.
I mean, to be fair, last season I was bombarded by you quite a lot, and listen, if it wasn't me, it was another manager you were trading with. So kudos to you, man. Well, you know how to wheel and deal him.
But yeah, I think wheeling and dealing's fun. I think partly a lot of people give this. Sorry, we're going on to trading for a second. A lot of people give this. Oh, you need to sweet talk the manager into a trade. That's the best way to do it. But I think a lot of the time, if someone comes to me and they're like, obviously I'm keen to trade, but if I'm not keen to trade and someone comes to me and they're like, oh, do you want to have a look at my wares? And there's part of me, it's just like, just make me a bloody offer. Like, let's get this conversation going. Do you see what I mean? So I think I can see that. And I think, we've had discussions in Discord of people sort of bringing this narrative together on certain players. And it's like, I know you're selling me bullshit. I'm also going to sell you bullshit. So, like, let's not mess around. Let's just get something that we think might be a fair value, ish. Yeah. And it might, the way that I'm not saying win a trade, the way that I think you get trades over the table is where you find a manager where you have a discrepancy on the values of players. Like, they see something you don't, or vice versa. I think to sit there and, say, we want it to be fair to, like, an observer. You'd want that because you ideally, to keep trades happening, you want people to not feel like they're getting screwed. But the way to actually get a trade over the line is you feel like you're winning the trade and they feel like they're winning the trade because you value a player differently. So yes, so in terms of the Watkins and Neto, I'm slightly concerned about that. But Watkins, so I know we mentioned it before. So he scored for England, should have scored a second, and that's where the injury happened. But I think they basically said, right, England are playing Latvia. They're gonna, like, Kane is going to start anyway. Just go back to Villa and sort yourself out. I think Emery will have said, like, Ollie, I want you back here to basically just get everything sorted, and I need you starting. Whether that means he's going to get any points, different conversation. But I think he'll probably be playing on Sunday against Spurs. I think it's Sunday. Do I think he'll be playing this weekend against Spurs? Yeah, probably. In terms of Neto, I think with Palmer's injury situation, that probably benefits Neto more. I know that Estevao has been incredible, but I think we're at the point where, is it reasonable to understand that Maresca seems to love Pedro Neto?
I said at the start of the season, man, I think he's like one of the safest wingers, like in terms of flexibility and what he does. And
he's still on sets, which is just like, so again, I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, he's going to be, he is a standout forward one, but you look at it and go, he scored poorly last game, but all he needs is, one of someone, Trevor to get the head on one of his crosses, or Pedro to put one away, or something like that, and all of a sudden you're in double digits quite quickly. So yeah, but performance not performing, so I'm wary of that. Injuries, again, I've just touched on Watkins. I was wary of. I have Buendia, so I'm in two minds as to I would waiting for presses to see what happens there. I'd rather a decision either way in terms of Emery says, because he took quite a nasty knock. I'm sure if you've seen it, where he didn't get stretched off, but didn't look great. I'd like some sort of clarification that way. And then just team balance, which is similar to what you were saying, where I think everyone's it always happens. You look at your team and go, Christ, I could do with bringing in a couple of mids. And then 3 weeks later, you're thinking, Christ, I've got 8 mids. I could do with getting in a defender. But I think it's just because the Premier League is in flux right now in terms of lineup. So that would be my main My roster concerns are just balance.
So, like, from what I remember as well, like, Lifestyle League, you've got an extra bench spot, so it's kind of a bit harder to do your waiver wire pickups and stuff like that. And it's almost like once you have a good core set, you kind of hold on to them. So, like, looking at this Lukic injury, what are you doing with him then?
I've already dropped him.
If there's a manager out there, really, even if it gets harder. Okay.
So, because I thought about it, but then I was looking at my team, and sometimes I'm usually not someone that drops pre-waivers because I just think it doesn't really make any. It doesn't.
I just think doesn't do anything. It's dumb, to be honest.
Yeah, literally the only reason I did it is because I was looking at. So I had Fulkrug, RIP. That's another one who's just that was a shame because he's looking promising. So I had like Fulkrug, Buendia, Lukic, Douglas Luiz I picked up before the game week because I was, I'm thinking, he's probably going to come back and it's worth a punt, and that looks like it might be promising. But I was looking at it and I was just looking at the waves and I was just like, if Lukic is out for 6 weeks, and even then, yes, the floor is decent, but he's not blowing anyone away, right? I like him, but I like him as a, he would be my midfield 4. So I'm just thinking
it's still replacement value.
Yeah, it's still replacement value, and no one. If I try and give him as a sweetener, someone's going to go, he's out for 6 weeks, right? It's not a Odegaard out for 6 weeks situation. But yes, that would be a consideration usually. But I think in this one, I was just, if someone else wants him, they can have him.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, cool. I'm going to skip my IGL update just for the sake of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you did win, didn't you?
I won.
And handily. Yeah. I think that's fine. I just want to make sure that don't sell yourself short here, because people are going. When you say let's skip it, people are going to assume you lost. You won.
No, Bragging Camp is great. It's going fantastic. The only thing I really wanted to touch on here was, it's the opposite problem that I have in this squad is I'm just desperate for a forward because my only forwards here, from what I remember, is Jadon Anthony and Jorgen Strand Larsen.
Anthony's injured, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Oh, well.
I think he picked up a knock today, I think. Or yesterday. Not today. I saw it and mentioned today.
Okay. Yeah, he has a solid red flag. But, I'm spoiled for, like, midfielders here, right? I've got Bruno Fernandes, Enzo Fernandez, Sean Longstaff, Jeremy Pino, Declan Rice. And on my bench, I've got Bruno G and Stock.
All right, now that all makes sense. Hence the reason you're asking me who to trade him out for. But yeah, if you're asking about Bruno G for Evan Nilsson for that team, yes.
I'm going to send that trade after the pod.
Yeah, I think for both parties, if they need a midfielder, like Evan Nilsson, Strand Larsen, I know he's your boy. He's done you dirty this season. But
he really has.
So yeah, Evan Nilsson, Evan Nilsson could have, I know we spoke about when I was on the pod earlier in the season, could have had a couple more assists or goals. All he needs is to get a toe on like a Semenyo, fizzing one across the box, and the whole thing changes.
And I also want to say, Clivert, or however you want to pronounce him, could actually unlock Evan Nilsson's points.
He could, because Evan Nilsson's
and we've not seen it because he's not started. Yeah, and there's that. So again, a lot of moving pieces. We're still learning shit.
100%.
All right, cool. Let's move on to our final segment, which is some questions. So I will take our first one. I just realized there's a question in here from you, so it's perfect the way we're taking them. First up is Ross N. How good does a defender have to ghost that you'd be willing to start him in an away fixture against the Big Six?
If I feel like I can get 8 points out of him in terms of ghosting, I'd be willing to take a punt, I think. Because this season, we're not seeing a lot of the Big Six aren't scoring a load of goals, right? So they might concede one and they'll still get 8 points. It depends on who they are. But for example, Dan Ballard, would I start him against City? Yeah, why not?
100%.
Do you see what I'm saying? And that's all ghost, right?
Yeah, and he's going to naturally have more work to do against the top 6 teams. So, yeah, I think it's safe. Like, as long as there's history of him, like you mentioned, 8 to 10 points. Like, yeah, I'm taking that. If we're looking at like the, like a Villa defender where they're getting like 4 to 6.
Yeah. Although, really. Shout out Villa defenders whilst we're here. Tyrone Mings, if he does come back, everybody slept on his scores so far this season. The issue is they obviously are better without him. They need to play Pau Torres instead of him. But if he is playing, he's been scoring really well.
Yeah, good point. All right, do you want to take our next question?
Sure thing. So this is from, oh God, can I not just call him?
Just say sweetness. That's
fine.
Fine.
Sweetness is fine. I'm sorry, salty. So I've lost 2 weeks in a row because the forwards giving me minus 1.5 to 2 points. What tips and tricks do you have for streaming forwards?
you can stream forwards? What a lucky, blessed life you live.
Yeah, he's playing off the bench.
I mean, again, this is going to be the most boring, obvious piece of advice, but it's really just a fixture play at this point, is it not?
I mean, again, not to hark back to the previous pod that we did together, you only have to play one, right?
Exactly.
Like, if there are next to no forwards that appeal to you, just pick one that you go, he's probably going to play 90 and might be in a position to be in and around the box. And then don't worry about it.
So the advice is don't.
Genuinely, yeah. So I know he said, forward give me 1.5 to 2 points. That is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
But say for example, Ollie Watkins could have been one of them. I think he scored 0.5. But just go, right, I'm going to have Ollie Watkins each week and I'm going to roll him out. And he will, once every 3 weeks, he'll probably score a goal. And you're happy when that happens, and then you just worry about the rest of the team. Obviously, if you look at, an injury occurs, say for example, we've got Chris Wood, who might be injured, and Igor Jesus is on the wire, and you think, I'll have a punt on him, they've for these a couple of fixtures. That's absolutely fine. Look at the fixture play. But I wouldn't worry about going, I need to be holding 4 forwards each week and keeping it that way. Just have one that you're going to play if you have to.
Yeah.
And then focus on everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I would be more comfortable, especially how the season has gone, is just streaming a defender. I mean, obviously hindsight's a bitch, and we could complain about Marlon. Oh, he scored a brace. I wish I had streamed him, and we're telling people not to stream forwards. But you could have easily found a defender got half that score, and I'm pretty sure would have still made a better difference than these bullshit scores that you're trying to get. So yeah, stream somewhere else. Cool. I'm going to take the next question from you.
Yeah, from me.
How long should people be banned from the Discord for if they answer a question in the Pod Questions channel? Genuinely, I'm going to just answer it as well. I was tempted to start giving people like a little pylon emoji attached to their name so I'm aware of who's being a clown.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's one of those where a lot of times you just forget because you just see like a lot of channels and you just think I'm just going to reply. But I think like this, the questions do make for like quite a fun little section on the pod. So it's a shame then if they're sort of like answered in there.
Yeah.
So I don't think people do it on purpose at all. But yeah, the reason I asked it was because I think we had a run of loads of people doing it, and it was just sort of like, come on, guys! Like the first person might have done a mistake, but you're just being obtuse at this point.
Yeah, like somebody noticed before before it gets too late. Anyways, love you guys. It's just the level of engagement in our Discord, right? That's why people are just happy to be there. Yeah. All right. Do you want to take the next question?
Yeah. So this is from Prash, our favourite. Glad for you to have you back. If you were drafting today, how would your top 10 draft picks look like? I have a home league draft starting this week. Firstly, sorry we've missed that, because the home league is probably gone. But I guess it's an interesting conversation. What would a round one look like for you?
Holland. I would start the draft with Holland.
Okay, he'd be pick 1.
Yeah. After that, Bruno Fernandes?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
After that, I mean, you can't. It's hard to like rank them because obviously we didn't see these injuries coming, whatever. But I think I would have predicted Saka getting an injury versus Palmer getting an injury. So I'll go Palmer third.
What, you're still taking Palmer now if you're drafting today?
Oh, if we're drafting today, then Saka.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
fourth. Who is left after that?
Well, Salah.
Salah?
Yeah, you're still taking Salah. You're not taking Njai there.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp. the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
As much as I love my dribbly boy, no.
Yeah. Okay. So Salah, and I guess interesting conversation then, because then at what point you booting Semenyo up to?
6.
Okay, so you're taking Palmer at 5, then you're taking Semenyo?
Yeah, I think the top 5 will stay the same in almost as we've seen in most drafts this season.
Yeah.
And it's just really shuffling the order.
Okay, I guess let's just round it out for precious sake, sort of the last few. So would you say, making up the rest of round 1, I'll just throw a few names that you can just say yes or no, just to make this easier for you.
Yeah.
Kudus.
Round 1.
Wow. Okay, Grealish.
Round 1.
Munoz.
Round 2.
Okay. Cunha.
Round 2.
Mbumo.
Round 2. Early round 2.
Okay, Bowen.
Oh my god. Late round 1.
Okay. João Pedro.
Round 2.
Enzo Fernandez.
Round 2.
Who else can I think of? Couple more. Bear me 1 second. Let's say...
Yeah, that's fine.
Watkins.
Round 2.
Correct. I guess lastly... no,
I like it felt like that was the only one that you agreed with.
No, to be honest, I agreed with pretty much all of those. It was more that just the Watkins, I'd say arguably round 3 in some instances.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think.
Arguably.
The last one I was going to ask. Gyökeres.
Oh. You know what? I would say round 1, just because he seems like he's a 90-minute man playing for arguably the best team in the league at the moment.
Okay, there you go. I think I think that largely answers the question.
Yeah. And I mean, that pretty much answers Sweetness's question as well, right? Because he's asking who we take in the second round. And I think you gave enough of a sample size that everyone else that we didn't discuss probably doesn't deserve to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one interesting one, who I didn't mention actually, is Isak. Sorry, but that comes into this.
I mean, it would have to be round 1, right? I think.
But I don't think I could bring myself to do it, though.
Yeah, but Watkins or Isak, knowing that Isak could be rotated.
Oh, but by 100% Isak. But my point is, I wouldn't take Watkins necessarily either, but I'm saying if I was pick 10 and Isak was on the board, I don't know if I'd be able to bring myself to pick him.
Who are you taking instead of him, Munoz?
Yeah, I'd rather have Munoz, and that's crazy that him is like ahead of Isak. But I think right now, we don't, especially with Ekitike there, who I know we've joked about looks like a freshly born calf, but he scored a few goals. You know, the confidence is up. So,
yeah. Oh, I love that. Freshly born calf. You know, it's crazy. We didn't even discuss Wits, which says a lot, eh?
But what it says about us is that we don't need to be jumping on any bandwagons. We'll give him time.
We say it season in, season out. New guys, you gotta be cautious with them. And people just see shiny new toys and they just, they absolutely lose it.
And this, I guess what we're just talking about here with Wirtz, so this links into the next question. So this is from Draft and Drams. So are certain players' second half of the season fantasy assets that are not worth drafting but should be added after a certain point in the season? Example being McAllister or Havertz as recent examples. Or is this whole premise hogwash? If you agree it's a thing, why do you think that's the case?
Well, I mean, I think that, injuries to key players can unlock the potential of other players. I think a good example as well is, let's say this Odegaard injury came halfway through the season. I think Rice's value then goes up even further because we saw a good case of it in this last fixture, where, of course, he goes above 20 points because obviously he scores a goal, but also it's the slight tweaks in the tactical systems and formations that also kind of cause this potential to be unlocked in other players, right? Because then Arsenal went from that 4-3-3 to 4-1-4-1, and now Rice is basically playing as a second number 10, almost like roaming number 8 in a sense. And I don't think any team is ever going to have the perfect season in the league, right? There's going to be blips and there's going to be hurdles that they're going to have to overcome, right? And that's why I think, certain players can get unlocked. And also, I mean, there are assets or players that start the season not 100% fit, not even 80% fit. And eventually they build their load, they build their fitness throughout the season. And I mean, maybe it's a case of other teams also dropping off after they've had such a high adrenaline rush start to their season as well, right? So honestly, it's a fantastic question, because I think this is a whole debate and discussion in its own. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you've been really succinct and nailed that. Really, my general thing with it would be, I believe that there are players in a season that are better in the second half, but do I think that certain players are second half players? No. Does that make any sense? So do I think it's consistently always the same players that are just always going to be better in the second half of the season? Not necessarily, but I think that things will instances will occur to make it that some players are better in the second half of the season, but I don't think it's I don't think it's like the weather. Like Alexis McAllister hates the winter, and when it's in February and it's spring is starting to bloom, then he starts being a better player. But what I would say, I guess, is don't write someone off for the entire season now, because it might well be after Christmas that they've played themselves into form, or they've played themselves into fitness, or like you said, other teams that they're playing against have worn themselves out.
Yeah. And you know what? You bring up a really, really good point about weather as well, because I mean, again, and maybe this is advice for like future draft seasons, etc., with like, these really, tantalizing South American players that come and play in English weather. The weather is another factor that affect these human beings.
Exactly.
Like
like a lot of the South American players are made of like sterner stuff, but the British weather, it's not necessarily that it's like difficult. You like people from abroad will go, it's not even that cold. It's just miserable, right? Like it's just miserable. So like emotionally, it does just affect you in terms of it just drags you down. It's not like, oh, it's cozy. No, it's just miserable and grey and like turgid, and the wind is just a pain in the backside. I'm not saying that other countries don't have wind, but it's just a thing. Like for example, that Storm Amy. You'll be playing 1 week and it's nice enough. You'll be playing one day and it's 14 degrees, nice. And the next day it's like, it's still 14 degrees, but whenever I kick the ball, it's not going where I want it to go. And I think there is this adaptation. And also we're now looking at, we're talking about international breaks, and there's one next year for 3 weeks. So all of a sudden they're playing in the UK, and then they're going like Argentina played in Miami, and then they're playing in South America, right? So that it's not necessarily just the time zones, but they're adapting to those different climates, and they're expected to play at the same level despite those differences. And I think we as managers just forget that. We look at them as if that like FIFA players, like I've put you in this, your card value is this. Why are you not performing exactly at what I bought you at? Yeah.
And this is what kind of makes this game so interesting about these second half fantasy assets, right? Again, we go back to like roster concerns for us, there are going to be options that will pop up throughout the season.
Yeah, and that's partly like, it's always, in my view, I think you should always be thinking, should I be selling high? Because obviously it's always you're taking a gamble that, is it going to pay off, is it not? But all it takes is one bad game week for a player. For example, like an Anton Stacks, right? I owned him, I drafted him at round 16, complete punt that I decided on the day before. He starts to fly, and I've got people in my inbox been like, he jumped into the top 50 in the rankings on TDS, right? Right, so and all of a sudden people are like, oh my god, what can I do to get him in? All it takes is one game week, right, of Longstaff going boom, and now we're going, is he a drop, right? One game week, and the week before you could have picked up an insane value for him. And those players that don't necessarily have the name value, sometimes you just have to go, or if they do have the name value and you get like a boon week like Bruno G, you just sort of just maybe have to go, hang on, I just need to cash out. Like, you need to cash these chips out because it's going to crash. And I think, like I said, with the second half, it's always being wary of what's on the other side of the crest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fuck. I'm absolutely loving this discussion right now. All right. I will take... Well, actually, before we move on, if you had to throw one other name out there for possibly second half of the season option, who do you think managers should potentially be looking out for?
Ooh,
that's a tough one. I know.
I wrote a few names down the other day that I was like really starting to look at, or starting to think about. Milenkovic.
Okay, fair. But I'm assuming this is like changing manager situation,
Correct.
though.
But in terms of like, who do I genuinely think maybe second half of the season? Simas from Brighton.
Ah, yes, yeah, the Greek kid.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
He's coming on and playing well. Welbeck's not playing well. Reuter's not playing well. I think it very much could be, I know we don't necessarily trust Herzl, or we are uncomfortable with the minutes that he's going to give these players, but I personally could see a situation over Christmas where there's rotating. He comes in, scores a few goals, and he's sort of like, hang on a second, let's just play him and see what happens. And you could get a run in January or February of a good number of goals. So that's one maybe that I'd be thinking of. And another one, Kevin at Fulham. Because he's still really young. I know he's coming from Ukraine, who, let's say, probably more chaotic than the miserable British weather. But he's brilliant. He's Brazilian. He doesn't necessarily know the players. I don't have Fulham even got any Brazilian players at this point? Because obviously Pereira's gone.
Don't think so.
Have they even got any Portuguese players at the moment? So my point is, like, the acclimatization is going to take a while, but we've seen that in flashes he looks really interesting, and it might well be that it just takes 6 months to bed him in, and in this case, second half, it really blows up for him. Maybe. What about you?
Oh, I was actually gonna say Vit, probably.
I mean, I don't wildly disagree.
I mean, if he is truly world class,
the quality's clearly there, but he does look like a child playing.
And I mean, the quality was always there for McAllister as well.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. You're making me think about Barco now.
Valentin.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take the next question then from Andrew, aka Richard. Yeah, we saw you sleeping. Favorite pizza toppings?
So I'm vegetarian, but I have only been for like 5-6 years. But my favorite pizza topping ever. So so it will always be Italian, thin, really thin Neapolitan style pizza. Cook that as a margarita. So tomato base and mozzarella. When it comes out the oven, you're then putting on prosciutto, uncooked prosciutto, rocket, and buffalo mozzarella. So you break the buffalo mozzarella, put it on. So obviously that's starting to melt a bit. Drizzle of olive oil across the whole thing, and then I'll triple cheese and go a smattering of freshly grated Parmesan or Grana Padano if you're worried about the animal rennet.
My mouth is like water right now, and I felt like yours was while you were describing that.
I mean, I don't even eat meat, but like that is. I said any more, but that is my go-to. What about you?
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up on very classic pizzas like, chicken, jalapeno, black olive.
Okay.
But then if we had to go fancy schmancy, I'd go like date jam, ghost cheese, and I guess some sort of a rocket or arugula or something like that as well.
That sounds absolutely delicious. A lot of black pepper. No, I guess if you have a rocket, maybe not too much black pepper. I think if we're talking like trashy things, I'm very much a proponent of a Hawaiian. Give me pineapple on that pizza, mate. Obviously not on Italian, but if I'm having a Domino's, the rules are gone.
Yeah, I grew up in a country where pineapple was normal on pizza, but I also grew up in that same country where we had condiments like ketchup and mustard, and I know people are like starting to turn off the pot.
I didn't want to say it. Yeah.
All right. All right, let's take the next question.
Okay, so this is from Sweetness again. So this is going to be a good one for you, I think. So, say you were trying to build the best cricket player by combining body parts / attributes from current Premier League players / managers / refs. Interesting. How would you do that? Disclaimer, I know nothing about cricket. Feel free to add or correct any terminologies you see fit to make this question sound better.
I will explain cricket to you in the cricket channel. That's why we made that channel. But if I had to... I mean, to build a cricketer, like... I mean,
do you know who I'm using as my base?
Who's that?
Haaland.
Because of the height?
The height, the power, like he's got like the gangly arms, so he might be able to bowl an absolute rocket.
Yeah.
I
mean, we can't really use your head in cricket unless it's like brains.
No, I'm not saying...
You need the smartest player.
Well, debatable, do you?
No, I mean, we could turn this into a whole different pod debate, but I mean, as the great Brian Charles Lara said, like, a lot of it is more mental game than an actual physical game.
Yeah, I guess a lot of public school boys, so we'd be looking at Patrick Bamford, would probably be quite good. I don't know if you know his story, so he's like grade 8 violin.
Longstaff was playing
good point.
cricket in preseason.
Tell you what, ignore all that. We'll just take Sean Longstaff, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right, cool. I will take the next question, and I know this is definitely for me, but I'm going to let you answer it. It's from Draft Pie. How much drink is too much drink during a weekend city break?
The limit does not exist.
Thank you.
It's a city break.
I will explain my reason to you off air. But yeah, I was just celebrating life. That's it.
I mean, rightly so. And the thing is, so for anyone that hasn't seen it, so Sanji went to Barcelona and looked like he's having a great time. And the thing that I would say, though, is every drink you sent, nearly every single one, it looked nice. It wasn't like you went and just went, I'm going to have 50 San Miguel's today. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I'm having, crafted cocktails. Okay, I'm having a nice, beer on this terrace sort of thing. It wasn't I'm going to sit in the same place and just have the same thing. So I think there's a
variety, yo.
Pie, I would say, say it again.
Yep, variety.
Exactly.
Is what I said.
What I'd say to Pie is it depends on the drink. If you're having the same one over and over again, there's a time and a place for that, and that's fine. But I think if you're experiencing what the city has to offer, go for it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, do you want to take our last question? Because I'm gonna push Sweetness's one into the next
Correct
one. It's
decision.
NBA. I don't fucking care. So.
Okay, so this is from Sharp. How many more games do you think Ange will be in charge at Forest, and who do you think will replace him? Who would you prefer and why? So I guess there's 4 questions there. One, this is based on the assumption that Ange will not see out the season.
Yeah, so I mean, let's just look at the next 4 games, right?
Yeah.
Because there's an international break to fire him then. Chelsea at home, Bournemouth away, United at home, Leeds at home. Genuinely, I don't think he has a chance of getting points until that Leeds fixture, and then they lose that Leeds fixture at home and he gets fired.
Well, there's a key. There's also another one that you've missed in there. In Europe, they're playing Porto. Who I also don't think they'll beat. So for me, I think if we're including the Porto Europe game, I think 3 games, which would see him out before the Manchester United game.
Wow.
Well, I think if you look at it, so you've got Chelsea, Porto, and Bournemouth.
Oh, he's got Sturm Graz as well between the Leeds and the Man United fixture.
I don't think he'll make it.
So there's
to
2
that
European
point.
games.
Yeah, I don't think he'll make it to that point. I genuinely don't.
That is crazy. He's not won a game yet in charge, right?
Yeah, lost 7 on the bounce. So that's what I'm
Great
saying.
stuff,
He makes it.
Marianakis.
That's what I think. There's the symmetry of the. So yeah, Forest against Chelsea. I think Chelsea probably then Bournemouth, then Forest. I think if he loses those 3, that makes it 10 in a row. All of those.
So Chelsea. So he's gonna lose to Chelsea, Porto, Bournemouth, and then that's him gone.
That's how I could see that easily happening. Then it would be he's lost 10 in a row. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
10 in a row, and they're his first 10, and then it'd be Man United, and then it's the Sturm Graz, then Leeds, then the break. But I think at that point, Marianakis might say, right, get out. I'll have a stick in charge for 3 games, and then bring in someone else. Do I want it to be Sean Dyche? Yes, I do.
I mean, they've got the players for a Dyche team.
Right, Dyche would go, and Dyche has connections to Forest. I think he played for Forest.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's partly why he was.
Fair play.
He's being linked with them. So yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think Dyche would be who I'd want.
I mean, who else is available? That's like
Ten Hag.
What, Sam Allardyce? Ten Hag.
Solskjaer's still available, I think.
Yeah, I'm wondering who. But it's like, who the fuck wants to work with Marianakis? Like,
I think that's the issue. I think the squad is quite exciting. You know, there are some very exciting bits to that squad. Because I would say, I'm not sure if Danny Roll, who was at Wednesday, has gone anywhere yet. Apologies if I'm wrong on that. There would be some interested managers, I'm sure, if it weren't for Marianakis. But I think if Ange does go as quickly as I've predicted and said, within 3 games, 10 games, you look at that and go, right, this could just blow up my reputation.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, bring Dyche back, man. I'd love to piss off a lot of people in our community.
Exactly. But I think to answer Sharp's question, I think it would likely be soon, and I would say prepare your teams for that. Like, prepare yourself for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because with this game, it's an opportunity game. If you see an opportunity, you've got to take it. So that's why I mentioned before Mikalenkovic. Yes, I know that's sort of a cheat. It was a cheat answer. But if someone like Dyche comes in, he was going in like round 7, man.
Yeah.
And he's been dropped in a lot of leagues, rightly so. But if someone like Dyche comes in, he could easily be putting up an average of 10 points a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the same thing with Murillo. So I think, just prepare yourself for the opportunity. The issue with Forest, they've just got too many players. They bought everyone in the world.
Yeah. Very, very Watford-like of them. Or Chelsea. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think more Watford given where they are on the table at the moment.
Yeah. All right, cool. Those are the questions, and that is the pod. Elliot, it was a fantastic chat as always, man. You know, I'm definitely going to bring you back on. Oh, I didn't even start the pod to tell people, Ryan is busy with real life and writing exams and shit. But
it's fine. Ryan's doing actual proper stuff.
But yeah, I'm probably going to bring you back on. Probably not next episode because I think you're still moving around a little bit. But we're going to see how schedules line up. I just think you're a fantastic addition to the Discord. I thoroughly enjoy our chats as well. Love picking your brain. And you challenge me as well as a Fantrax manager, which I really appreciate, even though sometimes it hurts. But I think a little pain never hurt nobody. So
I think I deserve a bit more back from people sometimes.
See, the thing is, they know your online persona. They don't know how lovely you are IRL, right? So that's probably what
I've lulled them into a false sense of security. They think I'm this hard nosed, and they meet me, and I'm just like, I'm bending over backwards for you. What do you need?
Do you have any final words before we sign off, bro?
No, just thank God the international break's over. Phew, it feels like it's been forever. Words along those lines. Yeah, no, it's I'm excited to have Fantrax back and have it ruin my weekends again.
For 3 weeks before we go into another break. So
and then we can have a mini breakdown again.
Yeah, exactly. All right, listeners. Like Ross always says, have fun. It's just a game. If you have any questions, again, best place to come ask is in the Discords. It's free to join. All you need to do is DM me for a link, and we sort you right out. But like Elliot said, enjoy the football while it's back, and we'll see you in the next pod. Peace.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
And Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.